In the late 1970 seconds and early 1980 seconds, the music world was filled with larger-than-life stars who shaped the sound of the times. Two of the biggest names during this era were Elton John and Michael Jackson, and even though they were both incredibly famous, their musical styles were very different. Elton, who had already been a household name for many years, was known for his piano playing and powerful ballads, while Michael was just beginning his journey toward becoming the king of pop. Elton John had already established himself as a true legend by the time Michael Jackson's name started to gain attention. Elton's music was a blend of rock, pop, and a little bit of glamour. His songs like Rocket Man and Your Song weren't just catchy tunes, they were emotional, complex, and often featured his signature piano playing skills. Elton's piano wasn't just an instrument, it was his voice. He would play it with passion, pouring his heart into every note while sitting at his piano, often with his flamboyant wardrobe and extravagant personality to match. His concerts were known for their colorful costumes and energetic performances. But at the center of it all was his piano, which he played with masterful precision. On the other hand, Michael Jackson was an artist who seemed to have a new vision for what a pop star could be. While Elton John's performances were all about the music, Michael's concerts were events carefully choreographed spectacles that combined music, dance, and storytelling. From a young age, Michael was a showman. He wasn't just interested in singing. He wanted to put on a full performance that left the audience in awe. The way he danced, the way he moved his body to the beat of his music, was unlike anything the world had seen before. His signature moves, like the moonwalk, were groundbreaking and became part of what made him stand out as an artist. In the early 1980 seconds, both of them were at the peak of their careers, but they had different approaches to their music and their performances. Elton John, having achieved so much success in his career, was known for being outspoken and confident in his musical choices. His piano was his partner on stage, and he was an artist who believed that a great song could stand on its own without needing too much else to make it special. His concerts were full of energy, but at the core of it all, he was someone who felt that the music should speak for itself. In his eyes, the piano was enough. No need for extravagant dance moves or complex choreography to make the music more meaningful. Meanwhile, Michael was on the other side of the spectrum. He believed that a pop star could be much more than just a good singer. His vision was all about combining great music with a captivating visual experience that would captivate the audience from start to finish. His performances were like little movies, where the music and the movement were inseparable. For Michael, it wasn't enough to just sing a song. He wanted to take the audience on a journey, drawing them into the music, with not just his voice, but with his body as well. At some point during this period, their paths crossed in an unexpected way. Michael and Elton John met at various music events, and despite their differences in musical style, they developed a mutual respect for each other's work. Elton had watched Michael perform and saw the energy he brought to the stage. But there was one thing that stuck in Elton's mind: Michael's dancing. Elton, who had built his career on being a brilliant piano player and singer, couldn't quite understand why a musician needed to dance so much during a performance. He had always believed that a great performer didn't need to move around too much. It was the music that mattered the most. To Elton, the piano was the centerpiece of any great performance. His identity as an artist was tied to his piano, his voice, and his emotional connection to the music. One day, they found themselves in a conversation about music, art, and performance. It was a casual chat at a music gathering, where the two of them were talking about their experiences in the industry. It was in this conversation that Elton made a comment that would change the course of music history. He told Michael that piano players didn't need to dance to be successful. To him, the piano was enough, no need for extra choreography or movement. He was speaking from his own experience. having had a successful career without the need for all the extra flair. He was an artist who believed that music alone could tell a story without needing to do anything else. Michael, ever the visionary, didn't take offense to Elton's remark. Instead, he saw it as a challenge to push the boundaries of what music could be. Michael had always been fascinated by how music could go beyond just sound and lyrics. He wanted to bring music to life with visuals, movement, and energy. To him, dancing wasn't just a way to entertain the audience. It was a way to connect with the music in a deeper, more physical way. Michael understood that music could be experienced not only through listening, but also through seeing, feeling, and moving. He knew that his dancing could elevate the songs he was singing, taking them to new heights. For Michael, the conversation was a turning point. He realized that he didn't need to be confined by the traditional expectations of what a musician should be. He was determined to find a way to combine his love for music with his passion for movement. He wasn't going to let anyone tell him that dancing had no place in his performances. Instead of backing down from his vision, Michael saw the exchange as a moment of inspiration, a spark that lit the fire of creativity within him. The conversation with Elton John wasn't just a simple remark. It planted a seed in Michael's mind, one that would grow and change the course of music history. Michael's response to Elton's comment wouldn't be immediate, but it would fuel his creative drive to take his performances to a level no one had ever imagined. He was about to change the way the world saw pop music and its connection to performance. And in doing so, he would take his place among the greatest entertainers of all time. The atmosphere in the room was full of excitement, laughter, and the kind of energy only a gathering of music legends could bring. It was one of those rare moments when two giants of the music industry found themselves in a conversation, not as performers on stage, but as ordinary people who shared a mutual respect for the art they created. Elton John and Michael Jackson had already met several times at various music events. But this particular conversation would leave a lasting impact on both of them, and ultimately, on the music industry itself. Michael was in his early 22s at the time, still in the process of evolving into the pop icon that the world would later know. He had already released several albums, but it was still before the global explosion of his Thriller album, the record that would change everything for him. Elton John, on the other hand, had been around for over a decade. He was already a superstar, with a string of hits, and a reputation as one of the most talented pianists and showmen of his time. His name was synonymous with iconic songs and colorful performances, where the piano was always at the heart of his act. The two had developed a kind of professional camaraderie, with Elton admiring Michael's dedication to his craft, and Michael respecting Elton's commitment to musical quality. They had both worked hard to get to where they were, each facing their own struggles along the way. But despite their shared experience in the music business, they couldn't have had more different approaches to their art. Elton believed deeply in the power of music itself, the magic of a well-written song, the emotion of a great melody, and the power of lyrics to move an audience. His piano was everything to him, and he had made a career of sitting at that piano, singing with all his heart, and letting the music do the talking. Michael, however, had always thought about music in a more visual sense. He wasn't just interested in being heard. He wanted to be seen, to put on a performance that the audience would never forget. His whole body became a part of his music. The way he moved, the way he danced it, was as much a part of his musical expression as the notes he sang. Michael was never content to just stand on stage and sing. He wanted his fans to feel the music, not just listen to it. He wanted them to experience it, to see it, to watch it unfold in front of their eyes. So, when Elton made his comment about how piano players didn't need to dance, Michael listened, but he didn't fully agree. To Michael, the statement felt limiting. He didn't believe that just because someone was a pianist, they had to follow a traditional path. Music was about pushing boundaries, about finding new ways to connect with people. For him, the message was clear. If you're an artist, then you should express yourself in every way possible. It wasn't just about the music. It was about how that music made people feel, and how it could be taken to new heights through dance and movement. Elton's words may have been meant as a casual observation, but for Michael, they became something more. He didn't take offense. Instead, he took them as a challenge. Michael knew that he could play the piano too, but he didn't think that was the only way to be a true musician. He had a vision for his performances, one where the music wasn't just heard, but seen and felt. And now, Elton's comment gave him even more reason to pursue that vision. Michael's response was calm and measured. He didn't argue or get defensive. Instead, he said something simple, yet profound. I believe that music is not just sound, it's an experience. It's not just about playing an instrument, it's about making people feel something deeper. Dancing allows me to connect with the music in a way that words and melodies alone can't. Michael was never one to boast, but when he said this, there was a quiet confidence in his voice. He was speaking from the heart, from a place of deep belief in his artistic mission. His words weren't meant to disrespect Elton's approach, but to express his own. Michael believed that music was a universal language, one that didn't need to be limited by any one style or convention. He was confident that by blending his incredible vocal talent with his unmatched dance moves, he could create something entirely new, a way of experiencing music that hadn't been seen before. Elton, though a bit surprised, listened to Michael's words. It was clear that Michael wasn't just a performer who danced. He was an artist who saw music as something to be experienced in a full, immersive way. Elton may have believed that the piano was the heart of a performance, but Michael saw the performance as a whole, a marriage of music, movement, and the connection with the audience. Michael didn't just want to sing a song, he wanted the audience to feel it in every fiber of their being. He wanted them to remember not just the tune, but the feeling of the music, the movement of the dance, and the energy of the performance. In that moment, Elton probably didn't realize how impactful his words would be. He had merely expressed his opinion, based on his own successful career. But for Michael, this moment was a spark. It lit a fire inside him that would burn bright for the years to come. Michael was already known for his groundbreaking moves, but this conversation with Elton only strengthened his resolve to push the boundaries of what a pop artist could be. As they continued to talk, it was clear that both of them respected each other deeply. There was no animosity in their conversation, just two artists who had different ways of approaching their craft. Michael respected Elton's musicality and his legacy, but he also knew that his path would be different. He wasn't going to limit himself to just being a singer or a pianist. He wanted to be an entertainer in the truest sense of the word. By the end of the conversation, the two had parted ways with a mutual understanding. Elton didn't necessarily change his views on music, and Michael didn't stop dancing. But they both walked away from that moment with a new sense of clarity about the direction their careers would take. For Michael, Elton's words were a reminder that artists should never be afraid to challenge norms, to think outside the box, and to push the limits of what is possible. And for Elton, perhaps Michael's words planted the seed of an idea that one day, even he might think differently about how music can be experienced. Little did they both know that this conversation would go on to have a profound impact not just on their careers, but on the entire music industry. Michael's response was more than just a defense of his art, it was a declaration of the direction he intended to take. A direction that would forever change the way people experienced music and performance. After the conversation with Elton, Michael found himself reflecting deeply on what had been said. It wasn't just a casual exchange of ideas. It was a moment that made him reconsider how he viewed his own artistry. Michael, ever the visionary, wasn't one to back down from a challenge. The more he thought about it, the more he realized that Elton's words, though well-intended, hadn't truly captured the vision he had for his music. Michael wasn't just a singer, and he certainly wasn't just a dancer. He was someone who believed that music, when done right, could be a complete experience for the audience. A story told not just through sound, but through movement, visual spectacle, and emotion. Michael had always been someone who loved to challenge the norms of the music industry. Even as a child, he was the one pushing the boundaries, constantly striving to do things that hadn't been done before. Now, as a global superstar, he had the power, the platform, and the freedom to take risks with his art. The more he thought about it, the more he became determined to prove that music didn't have to follow any one rule or tradition. It could be as innovative and groundbreaking as the artist behind it allowed it to be. He didn't see why he should limit himself to just standing on stage and playing an instrument, as Elton had suggested. He believed that the experience of the music needed to be as dynamic as the music itself. To Michael, dancing wasn't just an accessory to his performances. It was integral to the way he connected with the music. It was about the rhythm of his body, matching the rhythm of the song, and creating something visually and emotionally powerful for his audience. His music wasn't just heard, it was felt. The energy in the room would shift with every move he made, and he wanted to make sure that the audience felt that shift, too. So, Michael's response to Elton John's comment wasn't about getting defensive or arguing for the sake of it. It was about standing by his vision of what music could be. Michael wasn't going to let any traditional view of what an artist should be stop him from achieving his full potential. He was determined to create something new, something that had never been seen before. It was in this moment of clarity that Michael realized he didn't have to choose between being a singer and a dancer. He could be both, and more. As Michael thought about how he could express this new vision, it became clear that he needed a new direction for his music. He wasn't interested in just making albums that sounded good. He wanted to make albums that would blow people away, albums that would leave a lasting impression long after the music stopped playing. He began to dream bigger. It wasn't just about putting out great songs, it was about making an impact, about creating something that would become iconic. Michael knew that if he could merge music and movement in ways never done before, he could change the game for good. In the months following his conversation with Elton, Michael began to experiment more with his performances. He didn't just focus on his vocals or his dance moves in isolation. He started to think about how to seamlessly blend the two together, creating an experience where one couldn't exist without the other. It wasn't enough to just perform on stage. He wanted to make sure the audience couldn't take their eyes off of him. Every step he took, every move he made, had to serve the music and the moment. For Michael, this was a new way of thinking, a new way of approaching music and performance. The shift in his approach became even more evident when he started working on his next album. Michael had always been a perfectionist, but now, he had a new sense of purpose. He wanted to create an album that wasn't just filled with great songs, it had to be an album that would allow him to show the world what he was truly capable of. The kind of music he envisioned wasn't just going to be played on the radio. It was going to be a visual, emotional, and cultural experience that would leave people in awe. He started working with some of the most innovative producers and choreographers, people who shared his vision of blending music and movement into something extraordinary. Together, they began to work on songs that would eventually become iconic hits, tracks like Billie Jean, Thriller, and Beat It. But what made these songs stand out wasn't just the sound. It was the way Michael performed them. His choreography, his energy, his presence. It all came together in a way that was unique to him. It was as if every note of the music had been written with the movement in mind, and every step he took on stage was meant to make the audience feel the beat of the song in a deeper way. But Michael didn't stop there. He began to push the boundaries of what music videos could be. Until this point, music videos were mainly used as promotional tools, giving the audience a visual taste of what an artist looked like. But Michael saw the music video as a powerful storytelling medium. Why just perform the song when you could create a short film around it? He began to approach music videos like mini-movies, with elaborate sets, intricate choreography, and unforgettable moments. The Thriller music video, which would become a landmark in the history of music videos, was born from this mindset. It was a visual feast that took the music to an entirely new level. Michael knew that this was the future of pop music. The more he worked, the more he realized that his ability to mix sound, visuals, and movement was his biggest strength. He wasn't just making music anymore, he was creating experiences. He could already hear the whispers of excitement in the air as fans started to take notice of his new style. Michael Jackson was no longer just a pop star. He was a cultural force, one that was changing the way people experienced music. In the meantime, Elton John, too, continued to perform and create his music. He remained a master of his craft, but the conversation between him and Michael had planted a seed in his own mind. Elton had always been a man of great talent, and while he didn't fully embrace the idea of merging dance with his piano performances, he couldn't help but notice the direction Michael was taking. It wasn't just about the music anymore, it was about creating something unforgettable. Michael was doing what very few artists dared to do. He was pushing the limits of what was possible in music. And in doing so, he was changing the industry forever. As time went on, it became clear that Michael's decision to embrace dance and movement as a key part of his performances had paid off. He was no longer just a singer with a good voice, he was an entertainer who could captivate the world with every note, every step, and every breath he took on stage. Michael's approach to performance, born from that simple conversation with Elton, would go on to influence not just his career, but the entire music industry. Michael Jackson's response to Elton John had become a defining moment in his artistic journey, and it changed the world of pop music in ways no one could have predicted. And so, the stage was set for a new era of music, one where artists could be more than just musicians. They could be storytellers, visionaries, and performers who changed the way the world experienced music forever. As Michael Jackson's career continued to soar, he found himself at a crossroads. He had already established himself as a successful artist, but now, more than ever, he felt the pressure to push the boundaries of what he could do with his music. The influence of his conversation with Elton John was still fresh in his mind, and it drove him to think bigger, dream larger, and take risks in ways he hadn't before. Michael didn't just want to make music, he wanted to change the way people experienced it. He wasn't content with simply releasing albums or performing songs. He wanted to create something monumental, something that would leave a lasting impact on the world. It was around this time that Michael began working on his next album. He had already tasted great success with albums like Off the Wall, which had showcased his unique ability to blend pop, soul, and funk. But with his next project, he had bigger ideas in mind. He wasn't just interested in making another great album. He was thinking about how this album could set the stage for his next evolution as an artist. And that album, Thriller, would go on to change not only his career, but the entire music industry. The vision for Thriller was clear. Michael wanted to combine the best of his musical talents with the best of his performance skills. He had always been a perfectionist, but now he was determined to take his performances to a level that had never been seen before. For him, it wasn't just about the music anymore. It was about creating an experience that would transport his listeners to another world, one where the music, the movement, and the visuals all came together to create something magical. Michael worked with the best producers and songwriters in the business, but the real secret to Thriller's success lay in his own drive to innovate. Every song on the album was crafted with care, but it wasn't just about making catchy tunes. It was about making songs that could stand the test of time. From the driving beat of Billie Jean to the haunting rhythms of the title track, Thriller, each song on the album became a masterpiece in its own right. Michael's vision was to create music that would connect with people on a deep level. He wanted to make songs that people could dance to, sing along with, and, most importantly, feel. But it wasn't just the music that made Thriller stand out. Michael knew that the key to bringing his vision to life was to incorporate his iconic dance moves and stage presence into the album's performances. He understood that the visual aspect of his music was just as important as the sound. The two needed to complement each other. It wasn't enough to simply record songs. Michael wanted to create music videos that would bring the music to life in a way no one had ever seen before. The music video for Billie Jean was the first to show the world what Michael was capable of. In it, he showcased his trademark moonwalk, a dance move that would go on to define his legacy. The video was groundbreaking, not just because of the dance moves, but because it treated the music video like an art form. Michael's performances were now cinematic experiences, with every movement, every glance, and every beat carefully crafted to make the viewer feel as though they were part of the story. The video became an instant classic, and it was clear that Michael wasn't just another pop star, he was changing the very nature of how music was experienced. Then came the Thriller music video, which would become one of the most iconic music videos of all time. Directed by John Landis, the video was more like a short film than a typical music video. It featured elaborate choreography, stunning special effects, and, of course, Michael's unforgettable dance moves. The video was a complete work of art, blending music, dance, and storytelling in a way that had never been done before. Michael's vision for the Thriller video was to create something that would be remembered for generations, and he succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. The video became a cultural phenomenon, and Michael was cemented as not only a musical genius, but also as a visionary artist who understood the power of visuals in music. The release of Thriller marked a turning point in Michael's career. It wasn't just a successful album, it was a game changer. The album's success was almost immediate. Billie Jean, Thriller, and Beat It all became smash hits, and the album quickly became the best-selling album of all time. But it wasn't just about the numbers, it was about the way Michael's music transcended boundaries. He had created an album that appealed to people from all walks of life, all over the world. It was music that brought people together, music that made them feel alive. Michael's ability to blend different genres, pop, rock, funk, and R&B, created a sound that was universally loved. But perhaps what made Thriller so special was the way it fused music with performance. Michael had always believed that music was more than just sound. It was an experience. His ability to combine his vocals, his dance moves, and his stage presence created a performance that was as much visual as it was musical. Thriller wasn't just an album. It was a full, immersive experience that captivated audiences from start to finish. In the years that followed, Michael continued to push the boundaries of what a pop artist could be. He didn't just release music. He created experiences that would change the way people saw live performances. His concerts became legendary, filled with breathtaking choreography, dazzling visuals, and, of course, his unforgettable dance moves. Michael was no longer just a singer or dancer, he had become a cultural icon, a visionary artist who could capture the imagination of millions with every note he sang and every step he took. As his career progressed, Michael continued to break new ground with every album, every performance, and every video. He was never content to rest on his laurels. His ability to take risks, to embrace innovation, and to merge music with visual storytelling made him one of the most influential figures in the history of music. He had taken the conversation with Elton John and used it to fuel his desire to break free from traditional ideas of what a musician should be. Michael Jackson was no longer just an entertainer, he had redefined what it meant to be an artist. The success of Thriller was not just about the music, it was about the way Michael Jackson had revolutionized the entire music industry. His ability to combine music with dance, theater, and film had set a new standard for artists to follow. The world had never seen anything like Michael Jackson, and with Thriller, he had changed the game forever. What had started as a simple conversation between two music icons had led to one of the most important moments in the history of popular culture. Michael had proven that music could be more than just sound. It could be a visual, emotional, and cultural experience that would last for generations. The release of Thriller was not just a moment of success for Michael Jackson, it marked the beginning of a new era in music and entertainment. Michael had broken all the rules and reshaped the way the world experienced music. With every performance, every music video, and every album he released after Thriller, he continued to push boundaries, proving that he was more than just a pop star, he was a true innovator, an artist who changed the entire landscape of the music industry. In the years following Thriller, Michael became not just a household name, but a symbol of what it meant to be a complete entertainer. His approach to music was different from anyone else's. He didn't just sing, he performed. He didn't just release albums, he created experiences. Whether it was the unforgettable choreography in Thriller, the mesmerizing moonwalk during Billie Jean, or the stunning visuals in his music videos, Michael redefined what it meant to be an artist. His music was no longer just about the songs. It was about how the songs made you feel, how they made you move, and how they brought people together across cultures and borders. Michael's vision for music had always been bigger than the ordinary. He understood that music was not just an art form, but a universal language that could connect people in powerful ways. He saw music as an experience that engaged the mind, body, and soul. While many artists focused on one aspect of performance, whether it was singing or dancing, Michael brought both together in ways that made him an icon of not just the music world, but pop culture as a whole. The world had never seen anything like him before. His performances were like a magic show, a spectacle that combined precision, energy, and emotion. Audiences were left in awe of his ability to dance, sing, and perform all at once, something that had never been done to that level of perfection before. Michael's concerts were an event, a celebration of music, movement, and imagination. His ability to make people feel the music, to get them to dance, sing along, and connect with the experience, was what set him apart from other performers. He showed the world that music didn't just have to be heard, it had to be felt. And this was the legacy Michael Jackson left behind. A legacy of blending genres, of pushing the limits of what an artist could do, of showing the world that the boundaries between music, performance, and storytelling were meant to be blurred. He didn't just create songs, he created movements. Songs like Beat It, with its hard rock influence, or Billie Jean, with its unforgettable bass line, were not just pop songs. They became anthems that transcended genres and generations. Michael made it possible for people of all ages, races, and backgrounds to connect through his music, whether they were in a concert hall, at home, or dancing in the streets. The impact of his music reached far beyond the charts. Michael Jackson was a cultural phenomenon, and his influence can still be seen today in how artists approach music, performance, and even the production of music videos. Before Michael, music videos were primarily used as promotional tools, but he transformed them into an art form. The Thriller video, with its elaborate storyline and groundbreaking choreography, was unlike anything people had seen before. It wasn't just a video, it was a short film, a mini-movie, that brought his music to life in a way that was fresh and exciting. That music video set the standard for all music videos to come. Other artists soon began to follow Michael's example, incorporating more complex dance routines, theatrical elements, and visual storytelling into their performances. His influence spread to every corner of the entertainment world. Music videos became a way for artists to connect with their fans, tell stories, and showcase their talents in new ways. He had redefined the music video, making it a critical part of a song's success. Michael's legacy also changed how the industry viewed live performances. His tours were not just concerts, they were performances that told a story, with each song becoming a part of a larger narrative. Michael used his tours to showcase his music, but he also used them to create moments of connection with his audience. He was known for his perfectionism, and this commitment to delivering the best performance possible made him a role model for aspiring artists around the world. His concerts were not just for his fans, they were for him too. Michael's performances were an extension of who he was, a way for him to communicate with his audience on a deeply emotional level. It was in these moments that he truly shone, bringing all his talents together in one seamless experience. Beyond the stage, Michael Jackson was also an advocate for social change. He used his platform to address important issues such as racism, poverty, and the environment. His music often carried messages of love, unity, and peace. Songs like "Heal the World" and "Man in the Mirror" became anthems of hope, encouraging people to make a difference in the world. Michael understood the power of music, not just as a form of entertainment, but as a tool for social transformation. He wanted to use his influence to inspire people to be better, to come together, and to make the world a more compassionate place. Michael's influence also extended to the next generation of musicians. Artists who grew up listening to him and watching him on television were inspired by his creativity and fearlessness. He was the blueprint for what it meant to be a global star, someone who could transcend musical genres and cultural boundaries. From Beyoncé to Justin Timberlake, from Usher to Lady Gaga, many of today's biggest stars credit Michael Jackson as a major influence on their careers. His impact was not just felt in the music world, it stretched into fashion, film, and the way entertainers are perceived in the media. Despite facing challenges in his personal life, Michael's legacy has remained unshaken. His music continues to be celebrated by millions of fans worldwide, and his influence is still felt in every corner of the entertainment industry. He broke barriers for artists of all kinds, and proved that with hard work, creativity, and a little bit of magic, anything was possible. Michael Jackson will always be remembered not just for his incredible talent, but for his ability to dream big and make those dreams come true in ways that no one thought were possible. The conversation with Elton John had sparked something inside Michael, a fire that would burn brightly for the rest of his career. He was driven by the belief that music could be more than just sound. It could be an experience, something that could move people emotionally and physically. Michael understood that the power of music was in its ability to connect us all, to bring us together as one. His legacy is not just in the music he created, but in the way he changed the way the world experienced music. Michael Jackson's reply to Elton John's comment didn't just change his own career, it changed music forever. It helped to shape the future of pop music, the music video industry, and the way performances are staged. Michael had a vision, and he followed it with passion and dedication. Today, his influence lives on in the artists who continue to build on the foundation he laid. His legacy is one of innovation, creativity, and most of all, the power of music to bring people together.